in the heart of the city. As far as she was concerned, she and George were pretty much equal. Well, except for one important fact. Marlowe loved George more than he loved her. If she had to be honest, she'd never been entirely certain that he loved her at all, not the way a husband normally loves a wife. The marital arrangement they'd agreed upon didn't require it. To be sure, they were good friends. More than that, they were willing lovers and companions. Still, she desperately wanted a child with him. She berated herself for being such a wuss, for conniving behind his back, for tossing out her birth control pills and forgetting to mention it. She was a bad person. Naughty, naughty Marlowe, as George often said. He didn't know how right he was. Doctors had informed Marlowe, much to her relief, that she was fully capable of conceiving. Perhaps, as one doctor suggested, George was the problem. If he was, then that was the end of it. Or was it? She'd recently concluded that she wanted a child a tiny bit more than she wanted George, and thus she was willing to gamble and even connive. The doctor had urged her to stop stressing about it and relax. He offered some practical advice and then sent her on her way. Time, he'd assured her as his parting shot, was her friend. Time, in Marlowe's opinion, had never been anybody's friend. The neon sign across the street glowed even more brightly as the winter's early twilight faded to night. Steeling herself for what she was about to do, Marlowe rose, lifting her puffy parka from the back of the chair. On her way to the light at the corner of the block, she was seized once again by the feeling that she was being ridiculous. Did she really think she'd learn anything by consulting a crystal ball gazer? Standing in front of the door, she hesitated. What was the worst that could happen? She might be wasting a few bucks, but it wouldn't be the first time. Turning the handle and pushing the door in, she proceeded up a dismally dark, narrow stairway that smelled of onions and decades of accumulated dust. Just perfect, she huffed. The psychic didn't even have the foresight to realize she could be sued if someone fell because they couldn't see the steps. At the top, she found another door. Next to it was a sign, Melinda DeYassi, Psychic Healing, Readings Available by Appointment. Rats. She didn't have an appointment. She knocked on the door and waited, digging a fingernail into the palm of her hand. It didn't take long before the door drew back and a middle-aged woman in glasses and a fringed, flowery shawl stood peering at her. She cradled a black cat in her arms. Right out of Central Casting, thought Marlowe acidly. "Can I help you?" asked the woman. "Are you—" Marlowe looked back at the sign. "Melinda DeYassi," said the woman. "Rhymes with sassy." "I'd like to talk to you. To get, a reading." "Of course," the woman said, stepping back to reveal a somewhat cluttered living room. The furniture straddled the line between junk and genuine antique. "Have a seat, and I'll be right with you." The psychic walked over to the corner of the room and deposited the cat at the top of a tall cat tree. 2 other felines adorned the lower branches. Marlowe lowered herself onto a lumpy couch cushion. After adjusting her shawl, Melinda sat down next to her. "So, how do we do this?" asked Marlowe, inching away. She didn't like people who violated her personal space. "Do I pay you up front?" The woman explained that her fees depended on how much time she spent with each client. If she couldn't connect, as she called it, she simply charged a flat fee of $25. Marlowe doubted the Oracle ever had trouble connecting. "So, how can I help you?" "Well," said Marlowe, glancing down at her wedding ring, "my husband and I desperately want a baby, but we're having trouble conceiving." "How long have you been married?" "Almost 4 years. Can you look into my future and tell me if I'll ever have a child?" "Possibly." Marlowe felt her face grow warm. She might as well have found herself a gypsy at some tacky carnival and had her palms red. Every instinct she had told her to get up and run. "Give me your hand," said Melinda. Marlowe's expression must have betrayed her thoughts because the woman's face softened and she said, "I won't hurt you, I promise. I must have your left hand. It's closer to your heart." Okay." The psychic closed her eyes. Marlowe wondered if she should...